What it do, everybody? It's your boy King Crowder back again with another edition of History You May Not Know and Things That Are Not Taught in Detail for Sure. Today's lesson, I want to break down the great Melvin Tolson. Melvin Tolson was born in February 6th of 1898. We all know Mr. Tolson as the teacher portrayed by Denzel Washington in the phenomenal movie The Great Debaters. Mr. Tolson was a poet, an educator, a writer, and a politician. Mr. Tolson was born in a small town at Marshall, Texas, where he was one of the first ones to pioneer a interracial college debate teams going against PWIs and members. You must get it that he was raised in Mobley, Missouri. Tolson was one of four children of the great Reverend Alonzo Tolson, who was a Methodist minister. His mother was a seamstress of Black American ancestry, later known as Creek Indians around that time. Alonzo, his father, was of mixed race. He was the son of enslavement, and his mother was sexually assaulted by her former master. You must understand that he was taught education at an early age. He was taught Latin, Greek, and even to read Hebrew by both his parents. Mr. Tolson graduated from Lincoln High School in Kansas City in 1919. He later enrolled the previous year at Fisk University. Then he transferred to Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. The next year, he had to leave away because of financial reasons from the previous university, and he graduated with honors in 1923. He was a member of the great Omega Phi Psi fraternity, and in 1922, Mr. Tolson married Ruth Southfield of Charleston, Virginia, when they both were a student, when she was a student, at Lincoln University. They had their first child, Melvin Jr., who he became an adult and was a professor at the University of Oklahoma, along with his other children becoming professors as well. After graduation, Mr. and Mrs. Tolson moved to Marshall, Texas, where they began to teach speech English at Wiley College for more than 20 years. This was a small Black Methodist college historically in the United States. Mr. Tolson in 1930 began to leave of absence because he wanted to study his master's degree in New York City when he wrote about the Harlem group of Negro writers. He began teaching English, education, debate, and multiple skills. In 1930, his debate team of law students went against University of Michigan students in Chicago. That was one of the first worldwide known as a Southern team debating against PWIs. They debated heavily and had multiple conversations about how things will go. Mr. Tolson mentioned to his students, such as James Farmer and Henry Sweat. If you did not know, just the Farmer was a member of SNCC, and Mr. Sweat was one of the first one to win against the court case Sweat v. Painter that integrated college systems against the University of Texas. As he began to pioneer these movements, he began to teach and debate how to discuss political issues openly. Mr. Tolson's debate style was heavily influenced by his funny, charismatic, rude, honest, and direct speaking. He did not dodge the subjects from the Negro's perspective. Mr. Tolson educated his students on why this is important to talk about these issues. His debate style was to make sure you vocalize, you are transparent, and you are direct. He was known as a great debate teacher because he went right at those tough touches that we were afraid to touch. Around this time, you must understand that lynching was heavily going on in the South. Mr. Tolson used his students to vocalize to Northern members in this country about the horrific crimes that were going on. Mr. Tolson had many of his students come from sharecropper or lower income backgrounds. He made sure that his students discussed their upbringing. You must understand that he was a trailblazer because he was the first one to push about it in an intellectual form of college students. He wanted it in an integrated way. Mr. Tolson taught about it, lived it, and breathed it. Sadly, Mr. Tolson's sunset was set in 1965, 2 years after he was appointed to Tuskegee University, where he was diagnosed with cancer, and his body was laid to rest. Melvin Tolson, the great leader, inspirational advisor and architect of intellectually discussing your movement. He's made each one of us learn how, with the ability to debate our current issues and subjects. Mr. Tolson was not afraid to go into different places of business, step inside the lion den, and teach how to vocalize your point standpoint. Melvin Tolson, an icon, a leader, a debater, a inspirator, a writer, and a poet. He influenced many things as far as poetry, leadership, and inspiration. It's your boy King Crowder, checking back out with history you may not know and things that were not taught in detail for show. Today's lesson was on the great Melvin Tolson. I believe the people behind the things we see need to be highlighted. Legacy needs to be taught. Please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Hopefully you learned something that might be inspirational and pivotal to you. It's your boy King Crowder, checking back out. Peace.